Buddy, Sprocket here. I apologize for the gap between videos here lately. It's just been kind of hectic around here. So, as you can see, I have a new car. Well, new to me. This is a 1991 Chevy Caprice Classic. Now, it's not a police package or anything like that. It's just a 305 with the overdrive transmission. Bought the car a while back. I really couldn't pass up the deal because it was a good deal price-wise. But these body style cars, when they came out, this is the first year for it, had anti-lock brakes, which a buddy of mine's, and I'm kind of noticing too that the brakes on this thing, at least once I fixed them, they work beautifully. But as you can see, it's not perfect by any means. Right here, there was some damage down this side swiped. I don't know if the driver did that or if somebody else hit it. I don't know. But we got it pounded out. I had to put that piece of molding back on there. It had come off. But there was problems up here with the hood. You can see right there where the paint's off of it. That was folded under. The grill was damaged. I've done a lot of work on this car before revealing it to you. As you can see, it's kind of chilly up here and I have frost on the windows. But yeah, I have some still pictures of it, the different things that I've been doing to it. I'm gonna try and get those put into here in kind of a slideshow so you can see some of the stuff I've done to it. But my goal for today is to get the interior cleaned up a little bit better. Plus, I want to get these cars, well, any car for that matter, but this car in particular, up in the top here, there's a little channel right here, along here. Whoops, follow my finger here. There we go. Down through here, now the gap's a little bigger on this door. You can tell somebody at some point had pried it open, but it collects stuff. And then what happens is, stuff meaning debris, dirt, things of that nature. And then when water gets in there, it'll sit there and it rubs and it causes rust. Back here at the trunk area is where most cars have an issue with that have been sitting a while. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean all of these channels out, all around them, especially around where the seals go on these back doors, the front doors, because the back doors especially, because they don't get used that often, they're kind of sticky, a little tricky to get open. So I'm gonna clean that all up, get up under here, under the hood, and I haven't popped the actual air cleaner assembly off of this yet. I've replaced the air filter, but I know it needs some help. There's a few things I want to get done today, so bring you back when I got more. Alright, so here's a quick snapshot of the engine compartment. Sorry about the lighting, sun's at my back, which, as chilly as it is, feels really good. But as you can see, maybe, yep, there we go, fuel injected V8. Ooh. Also, ABS. That's my ABS unit. Now, I had some issues when I first bought the car. It had no brakes because, as always, cars, trucks, there's no real exception to the rule. The line that went from up here all the way to the back had rotted off somewhere in the middle, and I had to replace it. Now, what I ended up doing was just splicing into it, because once it gets up into here, which with everything in here is going to be really hard to see, but there's five, I don't know, there's a lot of brake lines, because there's an in to the ABS unit and an out. So there's a single one that goes to the back and then two each for the front, so probably 5. But either way, they go up underneath of the steering column and then come, no, that way. They come over toward the engine, then come back over, then come up into the actual ABS unit. So I ended up having to replace the one that goes over here to this front tire, and I spliced the one for the back down underneath, somewhere just short, or just lower than the frame rail, or in line with it, whatever, but it's down there. Spliced it and flared it and redid that. I redid the brake lines on the back axle, replaced all the brakes on this thing, the wheel cylinders, the hardware for the drum brakes in the back, the front calipers. The rotors were okay, so I left those go, but I did pull them, replace the seals, and repack the bearings, and it's a good thing I did, because somebody had replaced one of the rotors on this thing, and it just did not have near enough grease in it by my standards anyway. That same rotor, now this one here, let me explain something first. This one here has what's called a one-piece hub rotor. So what that means is, you can't see it. Let's see if I can get this to pop off with my fingers here. Nice wheels, huh? I think so, anyway. Now these are just plastic hub caps, or center caps, I guess is what you would call them. Come on. I can almost get it. Of course, everything being cold's not helping. Oop. Hang on a second. You're going to get some lousy video here. There we go. Okay, so behind the cap, you got a castle nut with a cotter key. Of course, castle nut's the one that looks like a rook in chess, or what they call the castle. But you would pull that, and then you just unscrew the nut, and then there's a set of bearings on this end, a set of bearings on the other side. I like these better because they're more serviceable than those one piece that all came in later models, where now the rotor's easier on those because you just pop the caliper off, pop the rotor off, replace the rotor if you need to. But these, I like it better from being able to service the bearings. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's this side that was replaced. It's a different rotor than what the other side is. It's a newer one. So I had an issue when I pulled that apart. Pulled the bearings out, you know, after getting the seals out. It was kind of interesting. The inner bearing race was spinning freely inside of the bore that it's supposed to be a press fit. Now, when I pulled that race out, well, punched it out, but either way, there was no damage to the race or to the hub where it sits. So nearest I can figure, it was a factory defect, if you want to get right down to it. So what I did was I peened the inside of the rotor using a sharp center punch to basically swell the metal out, so when I pressed the race back in, it actually held tight. Now, I don't recommend doing that, but for me, it was a quicker, cheaper fix to do it that way than it was to go buy another hub rotor for it and install it. It's a temporary fix. Eventually, I'm going to have to replace that hub. But anyhow, of course, this is your typical GM, still a side post battery. Oh, what fun. I had to replace the battery tray in this because the old one rotted out. You know, anything old, you have that problem because of the battery acid. The other thing I did, you might be able to see down inside here, maybe, if it'll focus. See the ends of some pop rivets sticking out. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that because it doesn't seem like it wants to focus. Ah, there they are. Shiny down in here, pop rivets. There was a hole in here, rotted. Same thing on the other side. So I patched those up. That, and sealed them real good. So that way, come wintertime, which we're almost there, it would not sling stuff up inside here and cause it to rot out even more. Just preventative maintenance. There's other body work that I had to do. This side's a little more obvious because it's black paint. Yeah, I had a quarter panel rot in the back, and unfortunately, 91 to 96, they do not make patch panels for the back end of this thing. Get front fenders all day long, but I can't get patch panels for the back. So I had to hand bend all of these. So they're not perfect, but at least it works. And I had to do some patching up inside the wheel well here because there were some holes in there too. On the other side, what I did, there weren't any holes in it yet, but, oh no, I take that back. I think there was one. But Anywhere I saw the discoloration from rust, I scraped away the undercoating and cleaned it and put some primer sealer there and then undercoated it to try and keep it from getting any worse. So anyhow, this is some of the stuff I was talking about. Up top here, see all the debris up inside there? I want to get that all out of there with my handy dandy little Harbor Freight shop vac. Get that all cleaned out of there. And like I said, I want to pop that air cleaner assembly off of there. You can see down inside here, maybe, there's some debris laying up on the intake manifold, which there always seems to be for a car that sits for a while. But I want to get that cleaned out of there. No, I don't want any possibilities of a future engine fire. So, yeah, I'll show you more in a little bit. All right, something I want to mention here, because it is worthy of note. This front grille has a support bracket in here. This was all damaged, missing, broken when I got the car. This down here, you can see what looks like new bolts. Well, that's because none of this was attached, because the previous owner had disassembled this because it got bent up and messed up. The front got hit, I mentioned, because I showed you the hood. But what I want to say is I would not have been able to get this thing on the road and legal without the help of my dad and my brother. So a special shout out to them. I want to make sure they get credit where it's deserved, because they helped me out with getting stuff from the junkyard, paying for it, and actually taking the time to go and get it for me. So thanks, guys. All right, so in order to pull this air box, you got a plug there. Back in here, which the sun's giving me grief and trying to see, it's down inside of there. You got your breather tube that goes down to the air cleaner, or the valve cover, which is back in there. The sun's playing havoc. You can see it's all oily. Not usually a good thing. Okay, got these two bolts up here. Okay, now you got, I guess you call it a tappet. Whoop, there we go. One there, one over here, because this whole thing is part of that air box. Those were missing when I got the car, so my dad got a whole bunch of them, so I went through those trying to find ones that would fit. The other thing you got to be worried about is the heat riser tube, which, there it is right there. You can tip my screwdriver's pointing at it right now. And then you can pull this whole assembly off of here so I can see what's underneath of it. The air filter on this thing is right in here. You pop these two clips, this thing comes down like this, and then you can pull it out. And then it's just a little square, it isn't real big, it isn't real small either, but that's what filters your air coming in. So, show you more in a minute. Here's a better look at the underneath the throttle body. As you can see, fuel injection. And you can see all the acorns and crap up in here. That's why I said I want to get that off of there so I can clean this up. The other thing I want to do is check all these vacuum ports. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 of them right here. Actually, nope, that's wire. That's my injector wire harness. But I got one. Oh, hey, here's another one. That's got a check valve on it. That's different. And I'm not familiar with that. So I'm going to have to figure out what that is. Follow it back and see what's going on with that, because I'm not sure where that goes. Because that's something I don't think I've had to deal with before. But this hose, remember I pointed this out? Yeah, that wasn't attached at all. So that's a problem. I need to fix that and actually put it back in there when I put things together. So we got a vacuum port right here on the EGR valve. So I'm going to check that line, because this thing, it idles just a little rough. So I'm not sure if that's from sitting or if that's some other cause. But like I said, I got these vacuum lines, and then I got the PCV valve over here, right there. I'm gonna pull that out. I'm gonna make sure that that thing is working properly, clean it. Little basic stuff that, you know, when you buy a car that's sitting, you know, clean it up, check all these things, because here's another vacuum line right here. So I'm not exactly sure where that one goes. It goes down here along the valve cover, which I'm having a hard time seeing what that goes to because of all the extra wrapping. Oh, there it is, right here. Okay, that's this one here. So, again, you know, just make sure, because these are plastic, and they're usually by this point in time, the age of the car, they're very brittle. So, you gotta be careful with those. But, yeah, so, a little more in-depth look. Oh, options this car has. To show you this, because this is like new age, newfangled stuff that I'm not used to. So, power windows all the way around, auto down for the driver's side, front one. This, power seat, 6-way. That is, I'm still not used to that, because you got that adjustment for the tilt on the back of the actual seat to make the tilt, back seat tilt. Then you got all of these adjustments here too. I'm not used to having all that new adjustability, so I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's most comfortable for me. So it's a little tricky, but you can see, oh yeah, dome light obviously works. Headliner is not coming down except in the very, very back there, which, yeah, I'm okay with that. The only damage that I've seen so far is this right here on the seat, and that little hole right there in the carpet. Of course, that's from feet. Other than that, oh, that and the previous owner basically destroyed the dash. At least I think he did it. I'm assuming so, because he had problems with the speedometer not working. But I swapped out the gauge cluster, and now that works, so good to go. But, yeah, I got a factory service manual for it off eBay. Really good price. If you guys are looking for those factory service manuals, which, trust me, for these old cars, you want to have one of those. It just makes life so much easier because they're so much more detailed than a Haynes or a Chilton. But yeah, hop on eBay, because there's almost always one of those manuals on there for you at a relatively good price. But yeah, I've already done a lot in here because this switch set was all broken. All these little chrome toggles were missing, broken. This one here actually came out of a 91 Roadmaster, Buick Roadmaster wagon. My dad and my brother picked that up for me. Again, shout out to them, thank you, because like I said, all these little pieces, I haven't had time to go to the junkyard, they did, so they hooked me up with all this stuff. This is also an airbag car, which, that's, again, something new and different that I'm not used to. Tilt steering, power brakes, all that happy stuff. Power seat, power windows, power door locks, power. So like I said, for me, this is like a brand new car as far as all of the amenities that it has, and I'm just not used to it. But I'll get used to it eventually. So, all right, yep, just wanted to let you know some of the options this thing had. All right, here's my shop vac. So, with the magic of video, now you see all the crap. Well, I was going to say now you don't, but it didn't work out that way because I wanted to show you something here. This cowl piece, all right? Now, you got a rubber seal, goes in between here and the hood. Keep junk from coming from here down inside the engine compartment. Now, it's held in a lot along the lines. I don't know if you'll remember my video about putting the rear door seal on my Skylark. It's got those little plastic pins that hold it in. Now, if you're careful, you can get those to come out without damaging the seal, which is what I did. So this thing sat, I don't know how long before I got it, and then at my parents' house it sat for a while too. And of course they have wood, so I had all kinds of debris and stuff down inside these little channels and stuff. So up in here, you've got a seal. Beep. It sits inside of there. Okay, so I'm gonna clean that up, but there was a bunch of stuff underneath of it up in here and then back in here where the hinge is. So you want to make sure you get all that dirt and stuff out of there, because like I said, water gets in there when that dirt's in there, and then the abrasiveness of the dirt starts scratching the paint and causing rust. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this whole cowl off, this assembly, which means I have to pull wiper arms over there. Whoop. Yeah, way over there. These things are pretty long. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to pull these off, so I'm going to do some experimenting, because I've never done it on this particular car with this body style. So I gotta pull those off so I can unbolt this here well, I guess screws, but either way, so I can pull this so I can get all the junk that's underneath of it. Now, what I did find here, there's little covers. This is an access panel, basically. It's a little tiny cover. There's one on both sides that has a screw underneath it as well. So be sure, if you go to pull one of these cowls off, don't forget those, because you'll end up breaking it. That's what they look like right now. Those two pieces right there. So, bring it back in a minute. All right, so there are little plastic caps over top of the nuts that hold these wiper arms on. So, forewarning, you probably don't want to do this in the cold, but I did, so naturally, they broke. Now, I don't know if that's just from age 2 or what, but from what I could tell, I don't know if you can see this, there's a little tab right there by my thumbnail that's on the back side. Oh wait, no. Yeah, that's on the back side. That's the round side. So that, I'm guessing, is what actually holds that in place and then over top of the nut. The problem is you can't really get in there to release those tabs to get this to come straight up. So this is what ended up happening, which isn't really a big deal. But what I'm going to do with this, once I get this off, and then I'm going to coat everything in grease or something just to keep it from rusting, because I have no intention of touching them after I put them back in. So as long as they're coated in something that'll keep them from rusting, good to go. All right, so you can see I got half of this thing out of here because it does come out in 2 pieces. Let me tell you, that was a bit of a pain, but you see down in here, this is why I wanted to remove that. All that debris down inside of here. And then, of course, down inside this hole, which these screens in here, which you can't really see. Oh, there we go. Are supposed to stop that stuff from going in there, but that's only assuming that it's being held tight. Now, what I just discovered, there's the body tag. Didn't know that was there. They used to put them up here on the front of the firewall, but obviously there's no spot to put them here, so. Body tag. That's good to know. This thing's cocked, which I don't think it's supposed to be. I think this was originally supposed to be flat against the windshield to hold it in place while they glued it in, but not a big deal. It's just something I noticed. So I'm gonna clean all this out. Now, getting these wiper arms off. See here, I don't know how well you can see it. Maybe you can see it there. It's a tapered shaft that's splined, okay? So the last thing you want to do is put those splines to where they are not engaged correctly, because what will end up happening is this metal here will just flatten out, either that or on the arm itself. Boop. So you want to make sure when you go to put that back in there that those splines are lined up. You just jiggle it a little bit back and forth until you feel it fall into the spline, and then put the nut back on. Of course, come on, focus you. What the heck? Thank you. Making sure that it's on the stop here. So obviously you want to have this in first, because that's where the arm is supposed to sit when it comes down at to what they call the parked position. All right, so you can see I got most of the junk up out of there. Now, I'm not worried about getting it perfectly clean, like actually with soap and water. All I'm worried about is getting all the loose debris out of it. So that's all done. I even got down inside these little pockets. All of that's cleaned up good. I got these relatively clean, like I said, as far as anything that was just sitting in there, the loose stuff. That's pretty much the extent of what I was going to do up here. Plus, got it out from underneath there and around the on the intake. Now, paper towel. That is basically keeping all the junk that I was loosening up here from going down inside my throttle body and then down into the engine. Just a good idea. Keep stuff out of there as much as you can. So, time for reassembly. Fun. All right, something I forgot to mention. This tube right here, this is what feeds your windshield washer. Okay? Up here, which, yeah, there it is, T. Little T section here, okay? This is where it gets its juice from, via that tube sticking up right there. And then this side here, of course, goes to the other side, which I don't see that tube, so I'm gonna have to find that. But anyhow, oh yeah, duh, it's on the wiper. But anyway, you'll be very careful because this piece here is all plastic. All right, you got a kind of sort of plastic end here, and then you got your T right here, which is also plastic / rubber. But all of this stuff be very brittle. So when you go to pull these hoses off, you go to pull this here cowl section, be very, very careful, because if you break that, then, I mean, you can get this tubing at a parts store, but if you can avoid breaking it, it's probably the best thing. So anyhow. All right, so it's probably been about a month and a half, maybe even 2 months since that last clip where I was cleaning up underneath the cowl here, and in the engine compartment. So off camera, what I didn't show anybody, it was tricky, is up in here, ouch, the door just hit me. This is that seal I was talking about up top where stuff gets trapped down inside of here. So this seal goes from here all the way back, let me show you here, to here. So I pulled this seal out completely, cleaned all the junk. It was just literally like mud and almost like a greasy substance that was just caked inside of there. And that, again, is from sitting and from not being cleaned. So got all that cleaned up. That took some scrubbing, let me tell you. But got all that done. That was pretty much the extent of my cleaning. What I didn't show you too, pop the trunk here. Oh, hey, something that a lot of people don't know about anymore. Pretty cool, huh? Hidden key. Anyway, so up inside of here, this is the channel I was talking about that stuff collects in when a car sits. Up inside of here and then up over inside of there. I cleaned all of that out. Now, obviously I still have parts and tools in the back, but these are areas, especially up in here, you want to make sure that you get cleaned out, because those are your areas that you see a lot of the old cars that have been sitting. They rot out there because of all the dirt. As I explained, it sits there, rubs the paint off, and then rusts it. So, like I said, I'm going to try to incorporate some still photos of some of the stuff that I did before I did any filming. But, yeah, whoop, sorry about the sun. Feels good, though. But, yeah. There'll be more videos to come on this car. I'm gonna have to split it up because there's been a lot of different work I've done on it, as far as, like I already mentioned, the different systems and everything. So I'm not sure how exactly I'm going to quote unquote edit it. So for now, that's it. I'll show you more soon, hopefully. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.